Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you gotta get spotted. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
Good morning. Well, today is going to be a very, very interesting day. We have widespread service outages all over the place. Basically, anybody that was using Crowdstrike's agent-based software, I believe it's called Falcon, are getting blue screens of death and restarting. So it is chaos out there. I checked. It looks like I am affected too. So let's just come in here real quick and look at the charts and so forth and what we got coming for this morning first. ZN is kind of on the bearish side, which I'm a little bit surprised about. Or shall we say the hawkish side, they're pushing down. I don't really see any real news or driver that's driving that, but S&P 500 took a pretty good dip yesterday, and it looks like this decline that we're seeing here overnight is the CrowdStrike thing, although we are recovering it. Oil was able to get bounce a little bit, but is still struggling within that range. Gold and silver, ooh, wow. Gold and silver took a huge hit overnight. That hurts. And copper yesterday, not so good either. Japanese yen on the downside, retracing a lot of this area that we thought was maybe another round of intervention, and the dollar rising. Bitcoin not moving so much. Very interesting. Not what I was expecting to see this morning. Let's see here. And what do we have on the docket for today? Well, at the bottom of the hour, we get Canadian retail sales. Not a huge deal, but I mean, it is a thing that's happening. We also have Feds Williams and Bostic speaking later today. But other than that, it is a No News Friday, which we haven't had for a while. So that's very interesting. All right. So next thing is the stock. Crowdstrike. This has got to be hit. So this is, I find this all incredibly suspicious, because the last thing I did before I went to sleep last night was I was reading on Reddit, and there was somebody that had a due diligence thread on Wall Street Bets about how they thought CrowdStrike was overvalued, and it was like one of the most retarded due diligences I had ever read. But they did point out the risks associated with the agent that they have. So it does look like they are down overnight. Let's change it to a 1 minute. You can see the decline down to 300 there. Yeah, that's where they currently are at. So that's a pretty good pullback. This has been on my watch list. I actually think I might want to buy it. Not today, of course. The rule is always never buy something when it's hated. When it's in all the headlines, don't touch it. So we will wait a few weeks until everybody forgets about it, and then maybe I'll buy some. Okay, so now the next thing is I'm gonna check on work here. It will be muted, so but I might be a little quiet here for a bit. Yeah, sorry, I'm muted. I am talking to my work bridge call because we were affected. So it's a big mess. That there is a solution. You have to get onto like every machine and fix it, including some cloud machines for people. So. Okay, my friend's PC was impacted by this. His home computer, if he's set up on a Plex server network and leaves his PC on all the time, is that a possible reason he was affected? Because his parents' PC also left on all the time and mine not left on all the time weren't affected. Okay, so let me explain what's going on. Crowdstrike has an application called Falcon. And Falcon is an agent that you put on all of your machines to monitor certain things and to monitor potential cyber threats, essentially. And what happened was they made an update to that agent. So it's an agent that self-updates. They made an update to that agent that causes your machine to blue screen. Get the blue screen of death. So the reason that they were affected is because their company uses that software on the client machines. And you don't. So for me, my laptop is fine, but all of my servers are hosted because we had it on servers. Well, all of our Windows servers, I guess. Guess it's not Rust-based. I'm a little suspicious that there was somebody posted a due diligence about Crowdstrike being overvalued last night on Wall Street Bets, and everybody on Wall Street Bets was telling him how stupid his due diligence thread was. Like that he clearly didn't understand the technology that he was talking about. And I agree with him that his analysis was really bad, but his puts are probably printing this morning, man. So now I'm like all super suspicious. Is that just a coincidence? Or did he actually know that something was coming? Because with an outage this bad, I think you do kind of have to start wonder, are there foreign actors and hackers involved in creating this? Somebody intentionally inserted some sort of an issue in the Crowdstrike software that got put into the update. So that's what I'm asking. Ben lives with his parents, all on the same home network. Their PCs are on all the time, but only his PC is doing it, and only his PC is on a Plex server network. He's saying his PC might still be linked to his old job's network from when he used to work from home. Well, I mean, really, it comes down to, do they have Falcon on their machine? Okay. Now, I suppose there could be other things where, like, if you're not connected to the internet, then Falcon can't update to its latest version, and then you wouldn't get the problem. Or if, for instance, you turned your machine off early afternoon yesterday, right? Update comes out overnight. They realize that there's an issue, change the update. then you start your computer up, it never gets the bad update and you never have the problem. I want to be conspiratorial, but I think there's a high chance that there was some sort of a hack or answered something, you know? So now I'm browsing on my LinkedIn. The first thing that I see is don't push to production on Friday. Now I'm browsing around. Let's see here. TT, CQG, and Rhythmic are online. CTS still down. We rang CTS And it was just the guy on the night shift, so they won't do anything until tomorrow. Yeah, but the number of people that are going to be affected, you gotta understand. This is not just like some cybersecurity firm screwed up sort of a thing. This is the cybersecurity firm screwed up. Like anybody that really knows what's going on was using CrowdStrike. They're by far the best software for doing cybersecurity. And the Falcon agent that is having issues isn't the only thing that they do, but it's a fairly major thing that they were pushing. So and again, the issue is there is a fix. It's just that you have to apply the fix to every machine. And a lot of IT is not going to be in the spot where they can like make a mass change like that very easily. So my guys, you know, they noticed it right away and got started on the solution, and we're just now like getting everything, finishing up, patching everything. So it's going to take some teams probably all day to fix. CrowdStrike was also the company Clinton paid to do opposition research on Trump for the 2016 election. Yes, I do recall that they were involved in that in some way. I don't recall the nature of it. So one of the questions that I had here was, is the whole cybersecurity industry going to follow CrowdStrike down? Well, so Palo Alto Networks is probably the biggest secondary stock here. They're not necessarily like direct competitors to CrowdStrike, but they're in that industry. And Palo Alto Networks is up big overnight, so... I'm just going to keep the CrowdStrike chart up. TLTR. Well, Palantir has kind of been... I haven't been a fan of this stock, to be honest. Like, I felt that when it took off, it was mostly due to, like, the names that were invested in it and not necessarily what they were doing. So... But, I mean, the chart looks good. Maybe we could go and look at the valuation. Maybe it's a good buy. Rumble. Oh, I forgot that they had a stock. I don't know about Rumble, man. That one's a tough one. That's a tough call. Because, even more widely, Trump. Sorry, what is a DJT? Yeah. I'm not sure how good of a buy DJT is, to be honest. Like, the issue over here is, okay, he's going to be president. People are going to have to go and visit their thing. But I think that most people are just going to stay on Twitter and get cross updates. You know, like, I don't know if people are actually going to use this. I don't know if people are actually going to use Rumble. Like, I haven't been super impressed by Rumble's service so far. They just don't have a enough variety of content for me to be interested in watching over there. Ah, so your friend is wondering if this will get fixed on the back end. Like, I feel like he has to just do something to fix it, but he's wondering if he just leaves his computer sitting. So I'm gonna say no. So the issue is, again, because it's an agent, causes your computer to blue screen. That's gonna make it hard for it to update. So let me pull up the steps here. Hold on. Where is it? Okay. So here's the temporary fix. You boot the machine in safe mode. Go into the registry and edit the following key. This disables that agent that's having a problem from loading, and then your machine will boot again. Then you'll be in the position to, be able to update it to the latest version and fix it, all of that. Have you already talked about Austin Private Wells shorting shares of DJT 12 days before the assassination attempt? Was it 12 days before? Oh, I don't think that's right. I thought it was like the last Friday. My understanding was that they took the short position last Friday. It looked incredibly suspicious, but there's tons of people. Oh, they had the short for a long time and then they amended it on the 17th. Well, it certainly seems suspicious, doesn't it? But there's a lot of people that have not liked the stock and wanted to go short the stock. So seeing one company, big company, being shorted is not necessarily suspicious in and of itself. It's interesting. All sorts of conspiracy theories about it. And that's interesting. So, again, this is where we got to get into how do people actually think? It's kind of funny because most people think that people think the way that autistic people think. Because an autistic person, right, they have to rely on processes and rules and all of these sorts of checks to be able to do anything. So you want to explain to them how to behave in a certain social situation. You have to explain all the rules, and then they have to practice going through that rule in their head in that situation to figure it out, right? That's not the way that you work. The way that you work is you have all of this experience. You've seen people do things. You've experienced certain social situations, and then your mind adjusts a neural network based on those interactions. It says, okay, here's a bunch of different situations. Let's configure the neural network so that it gives us the answers that we want based on those inputs. And then all of these brain cells rearrange themselves. So when you're in the social situation, you don't think, oh, logic, this. You just go, boom, answer, right? Because you're using a neural network. Now, there are problems with neural networks. And that's what we see with ChatGPT, right? What's the problem with ChatGPT? It hallucinates. It doesn't have the ability to check itself So it just makes answers up, and it will make those answers very, very confidently, even though it's completely wrong. So what is the difference between us and ChatGPT? Well, our brains will make the same mistake as ChatGPT. It's just that we also have those logical processing systems. So we get the answer from ChatGPT, and then we check it against our logical systems to say, okay, does this contradict information that I already have? So the problem is, if you are lacking in that information, in those logical checks and everything, then the neural network part of your brain just kind of takes over and just hallucinates. And so that's what you're going to see in these kinds of situations, like all over the place. Right? So all of these things, we're going to look at them, and your mind is immediately going to say conspiracy. And because you don't really actually have like real information about what's going on to check against, the hallucination just dominates. And most people aren't sophisticated enough to say, well, I don't actually know, right? So like with this Crowdstrike thing, there's a pretty good chance that it's not just some mistake, that there was some sort of vulnerability that was exploited, you know? And that guy talking his due diligence on Wall Street Bets, it seems awfully suspicious. Could just be, it probably is just a coincidence, but it is suspicious. Took a short. I'm not sure I understand why the treasuries are selling right now. You know, when I go down through my head about like what kind of flows do we have going here, and I don't know. Yeah. Trump finishes longest nomination acceptance speech in U.S. history. I was watching that last night, and I was like, this is just going on forever, and I couldn't finish it. I like that he barely mentioned Biden and barely attacked the opposition, but that was not the case at all. He tried to give like a unifying speech, but it was basically like, here was this policy from Biden, here's this policy from Biden. This administration is so awful. That was the whole speech. So we did this great thing, and then Biden fucked it up. Man has infinite energy. Ah, that's a good point, Uzi. I watched his speech, and something interesting to note is that Trump doesn't attack Democrat voters the way that Biden attacks Republican voters. He attacks the politicians and the institutions, but not people. You're totally right. A good point. Yeah, Biden called us threats to democracy. It really is like, ugh. And the Democrats, you know, part of it was like, oh, okay, this is the strategy that you guys are going to go with. Remember very early on when like Biden was starting his campaign, and it was like, oh, this is, you're going to go through the whole same thing again. This isn't really good for the country. But I really think it's like impulsive. They can't help it. The reality is that they despise the other half of the country. Conservative, rural people just want to be left alone. But Democrats have this grudge. And that's why I always bring up this thing that like a lot of the left are still not over their parents telling them that they shouldn't sleep around when they were in high school. Is basically what it comes down to for a lot of them. They didn't like the things that the standards and so forth that their conservative parents tried to hold them to, and they never got over it. And it basically turned into, I hate all of those people because they criticized me. They didn't accept me, and they've never let go of that grudge. And so they just hate everybody that thinks that way. They absolutely despise them. And so they can't help but attack Trump voters. It's impulsive. It's impulsive for them. It's a common thread with nearly every progressive I know. This is also why the left seems to be like going against every principle that they held like 20, 30 years ago. It's because the voters didn't come into the Democrat Party for ideological reasons. They came into the Democrat Party for social reasons. And now you're kind of seeing the end result of that. With the party basically like imploding on itself. 42-year-old angry high school atheist. And if you don't understand how these people think, just go to r/atheism and go and read the threads there. Because what are the threads there about? Like, one of the most common threads over there is, I can't help but feel that anybody that's not atheist is a complete moron, right? That's always the discussion they're having over there. I'm really interested to see what Crowdstrike does when the S&P 500 opens here. I'm not particularly religious, but I'm not triggered by it either, whether it's economists or immigration. It's only a matter of time before a progressive makes an anti-religious argument. It's true. It's so true, man. Like, they hate Jesus, but they expect you to live by their interpretation of Scripture. Right. And you notice how it's always like, I'm such a good person. You people are so awful. You're putting children in cages, blah, 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 right? We're the good, virtuous people. But then, like, there's an attempted assassination. Oh my gosh. Why did they miss, etc., right? You're not actually good people. You're trying to convince everybody good people because you still have this narcissistic wound inflicted on you from high school when people told you that you weren't a good person because you weren't Christian. But the reality is that they're just as impulsive as any other regular person. When a court case comes out, that doesn't matter what the ruling is or what the logic is based on and how well supported the ruling is by the Constitution. They expect the courts to always rule in the way that they want, right? Do you see the AP story about one of the biggest housing providers being caught up in trafficking? I did not. Interesting that that's not a bigger story. Treasuries sure do seem slow today, but they are on the downturn. Another thing here on the treasuries is they're awfully nonchalant about going into new lows. Oh, he sent the story to us? Okay. Well, it's an AP article. That's pretty awful story. It was like I was saying the other day, man. This is a much larger problem than you know. It's a very unsavory thing, and so people don't want to think about it. But it's a much larger societal issue than people realize, and there's a reason why we have all of these old style conservative societal norms around, like, not exposing children to sexual content and things like that. It's because this has always been a problem, and society has developed some norms to help combat the problem, and now you've got these progressives in here trying to undermine all of those norms, and they don't realize the harm that they're doing to children. Oh yeah, it's really is disgusting, the number of kids that are coming over too. Like, the thing that frustrates me the most about all of this stuff is that, like, Donald Trump fixed the issue, and then Biden came in and rescinded all of his policies. Trump made some big mistakes in there. I think that they were kind of like, they didn't know what they were doing kind of mistakes. But by the end of it, they had a policy that worked. Or at the very least, it was deterring illegal immigration. Notice it fixes climbing. So I want to know, why is gold and silver getting hammered so hard this morning? Is this all just because of people coming into the dollar? I don't know. These flows this morning are all a little odd. So back on the Trump nomination speech thing, though, was I the only one that felt like he must be just winging it? Because, like, he would go into the subject and he would go into all of these different antidotes and all of this sort of stuff. And I'm like, there is no way that this is all planned in the speech. There's no way. He is off script. It's a long speech. Where is Bitcoin? You know, Bitcoin hasn't moved that much this evening. Or this morning. He feels confident he is going to win. What's your thoughts if he loses? I think that you'd have to have something really major happen in order for him to lose at this point. Like, it sounds pretty likely that Joe Biden is going to drop out today or Sunday. And he will not endorse Kamala Harris, but Kamala Harris would be the presumptive nominee at that point. And we see how that goes. If Kamala Harris is the nominee, I don't think she stands a chance against Trump. He just said he's more committed than ever to beat Trump. Yeah, so my understanding is that they have not convinced him to drop out, but that they feel pretty confident that they'll be able to convince him to drop out before the end of the weekend is what they're saying. It's a weird situation, okay? I'm just telling you, like, what the latest stuff from the grapevine is. The latest stuff from the grapevine is that it's anticipated that he will drop out before Sunday. Going to lose. so the Uzi is so convinced that the steal is in, that no matter what happens, that Trump is going to lose. The concerning thing that I'm seeing right now is that while the current polling suggests that Donald Trump will win in a landslide, one, we are still way too early. Polling before Labor Day is not very reliable, okay? The other issue that I see is that while it shows him winning a landslide, the margin of error for all of this is still within the margin of where things like get out the vote efforts and quote-unquote the steal will have impact. So Donald Trump's margin of victory is probably not as comfortable as it seems. But I still think that it's very likely that he wins. I still think it's very likely that he wins. I already lived through the red wave. And, well, okay, so like as it pertains to the red wave, a large part of that was like a youth vote turning out for abortion and stuff like that, right? And polling doesn't catch that very well. But the youth vote ain't gonna turn out for Biden or Kamala Harris. They're just not. Yeah, Biden's family starts discussing his exit plan from the race, reports NBC. Why is ZN moving up on that Biden news? Close that. Now I can think again. I've had my call going on in the back of my ear this whole time, and they finally closed the call. They're all back up. I don't have to do anything because there's a cloud team handling it. But apparently a lot of partners are still down. So here's on r/experience bag. Which one of you was it who pushed the bug into prod at Crowdstrike? Come on now, we're all friends here. Looks good to me. Right. Worked on Kevin's machine. Some service level agreement documents are going to be getting open for the first time in a while today, I suspect. So there are a couple of things about this CrowdStrike issue that I'm a little bit like, about. This is why I continue to feel like maybe there was a hack or a foreign actor sort of a thing going on involved in here. Because I just cannot see how an issue like this would get pushed out. So first of all, you're going to have multiple levels of QA testing and code reviews and everything else like that. If this causes everybody's machine to blue screen of death, how did that not get caught in QA? There's no way that that would not get caught in QA. And then the other thing is, why do they push it out to everybody at the same time? Like, it should be staged. Like, you have one group that goes this hour or maybe this day, and like you push it out over several days so that if there is a problem, not everybody is affected. So that again brings me back to like there's either some startling levels of incompetence going on over at CrowdStrike, or there's something else, and we're gonna find out later that there's, after it was all reviewed and everything, somebody inserted something. I think so. I think it's going to be more complicated than somebody accidentally inserted a bug, Airport's down. How much you want to bet the QA team was laid off recently? Maybe. I have to say, it was like, you know, most jobs, you screw up and it's just your customers that notice. But or like I did a lot of internal apps, so like if we screwed up, it was just, you know, internal employees that noticed, and it wasn't a huge deal. Versus, you know, like when you screwed up at Goldman, it was front page news, right? I knew a guy that screwed up like that. Yeah, and we're in a huge cyber war, and there's been a number of odd and suspicious things happening, and I think that it's highly likely that the Russians targeted Crowdstrike to insert an issue like that and cause some chaos. You know? It's kind of curious to me. Maybe that just says more about me, that I'm the first one going into, you know, that's a possibility here. Whereas everybody else is like, who's the guy that inserted the bad code? Because I'm kind of like, look, everybody will insert bad code from time to time. How did your other processes not catch that? Like, oh my gosh. That's why it only makes sense to me that it was a hack. Everyone needs to short their computers and information, get stuff off. Well, so there's a couple of other things about this. This is one of the reasons why I hate some cloud services. Like there are some cloud services that are great, but there are other things that really should be running on your machine. Like your trading software should be running on your machine. And I don't want to leave it up to somebody else to keep it together. I want to manage it myself. And then there's also these agents. Like there's a lot of stuff that you can do with agent-based software with monitoring and everything, but there's big downsides to them too. And a lot of people in IT have just kind of like adopted them without thinking, because they, you know, that's what the companies are selling to them. But I've had nothing but problems with them. So there's another company called, I think it's called Thousand Eye. No, it wasn't Thousand Eyes that broke up. What was it? It's a similar application to Falcon. And what this application would do is it would scan files to ensure that those files aren't being modified. And we had constant issues where it would get caught in some sort of a loop or something and crash the machine. And we would have production issues because of this stupid agent. And it was, oh, well, we just disable it, and then the problem was gone, sort of a thing, right? So I suppose that it was only a matter of time before something like that happened with Crowdstrike. Just should never have been this severe. Right, because this was an issue that, like, as soon as it got pushed out, people were blue screening. How did that not get caught in QA? Okay, well, the first 2 minutes of the S&P 500 have been negative. Crowdstrike, not too bad, though. Not too huge of a move on the open. They're giving back lots of in the treasuries. I do kind of wonder if that move was not Joe Biden is actually dropping out. But why it would be a buy the treasuries moment, I'm not sure. Maybe the play is, if Donald Trump gets elected, you sell treasuries. If Donald Trump doesn't get elected, you buy treasuries. And Joe Biden dropping out increases the chance of Donald Trump losing. Ergo, they buy the treasuries. I don't know. But there was a headline hitting the wires when we had that move up. Tripwire? No, it wasn't Tripwire. It's been too long. It's been over a year. There was another application called Thousand Eyes that was kind of a similar sort of thing. It was like it turned every computer into a monitoring system that would be like pinging systems and doing things like that. Well, we didn't really have problems with that one. It was something else that caused the problem. I don't remember what it was. Man, I tried to get to bed good time last night. I think that I got to bed at a normal time, but I still feel beat up. I was worried. Yesterday, actually, where is this? Right here. Oh, you can't really see it. It's not too bad now. Yesterday, I was watching the kids, and I was like laying down next to them. And one of them dropped this like wooden barnyard thing on me, and it like left this little cut. It's still like when I touch it, it's bruised, but it's not like this huge red welt like I thought it might be this morning. So that's good. I feel a little beaten up though this week. Hit my head. You can't really see that one too bad either. When I was messing around with the UPS, I hit my head on the underside of the desk, or not the underside, the corner of the desk. Good thing I gave it a really good round over, or that would have been a huge ugly gnash. Uh-oh, somebody else is rejecting the NBC report on the Biden family. What I'm just hearing on the news swag now is they're refuting that report. But I'm not seeing a corresponding reaction in the treasuries, so I don't know. Their Crowdstrike is moving around. White House spokesman says NBC report on Biden family is wrong. Well, okay. I'm not sure I believe a White House spokesman, to be honest. You know what? So this is like a personal little issue I'm having here with one of the narratives I'm seeing. But like, everybody is saying, don't push to production on a Friday. And I'm like, well, look, the reason that you don't want to push to production on a Friday is because you don't want to have to deal with issues over the weekend. But in a case like this, it's really better that people have to deal with it on the weekend rather than during the week, because it's a big mess. It's a huge mess. The whole don't push to production on Friday is kind of it's a selfish thing to some extent, right? It's so that people don't have to work on the weekend. I don't know, this little spike up that we had in the treasuries, like, there wasn't that much volume behind it. It wasn't that big of a move. It's kind of looks like it's just kind of fizzling out and turning back into noise. Okay. So, Goldman analysts on Crowdstrike. While it is still early, we expect to see minimal share shifts in endpoint as a result of the incident, although we expect to see noise in competitor go to market processes. We maintain our 12-month price target at $400 based on a 55 times Q5 to Q8 FCF. I don't know what that last little bit means, but they have a $400 price target, which is good, like 30% upside from here. I think you don't want to buy it when everybody's talking about it. Wait a few weeks, everybody forgets about it. I do think it's a buy the dip though. Like, they're still the best cybersecurity firm, and they're going to be better because of this. But who knows? Maybe like a bunch of people sue them. Maybe. By the way, it was Carl Quintilla that was tweeting that. Quote from Goldman. Oh, what the? Why do I pull Reddit up on sometimes? Listen, I'm browsing through. I want to see like what's going on this morning. What are people talking about? Is there anything that can give me insight into the market? But then sometimes you just get like these Reddit threads, and the stuff that some of the stuff that I see on Reddit just makes me go like, what the hell is wrong with people? So here's a thread from Am I the A-hole? My husband suggested a threesome with a woman. I want a divorce. Yada yada yada. Okay, and so the whole thing is just like he wants to do it. You pick the woman. I'm shocked. I want divorce, etc. Okay, well, but the thing that is crazy to me is he is 40 and I am 38. We have been together for over 7 years, married for 1.5, and we have one daughter who is 6 months old, and we are planning another baby. What is wrong with you? Like that's the kind of stupid shit that you do when your kids are like teenagers or out of the house, guys. Not when you're planning a baby. Oh. Am I just too conservative, or am I the only person that sees a problem with this? Our generation giving birth to the world's future mental health crises. Yeah. It's so funny. Like, so millennials are constantly talking about like, oh, I was so traumatized by this thing or that thing, and I'm not going to do that to the next generation. Like, I see that conversation a lot. But then I look at what you're doing and I'm like, you don't think that those things are going to cause trauma? Come on. This is like, it kind of feels to me like millennials are not the most self-aware. I mean, maybe they're somewhat self-aware compared to boomers, but you know what's the thing about boomers that just drives me crazy is like when all of the boomers are doing something, like they're all coming into the same stage of life and they're all kind of making the same decision, and maybe they're all kind of making the same mistake. So what would be so like all of the boomers, they're retiring and they want to just go off and go party, and they're not really seem that interested in, you know, helping with the, you know, the kids, the younger generation, sort of a thing, right? But like, they're all doing the same thing and they don't realize that they're all doing the same thing. Like when the millennials are all doing the same thing, we all kind of sit there and go like, maybe this is a bad idea, right? But the boomers, they don't, because they're just not paying attention to what they don't read stuff online very often, you know? So like boomers are really, really not self-aware. But then millennials seem to be making all of these mistakes that they should know better. You know, the worst one is there so many millennials not saving for retirement. Ooh. Like, you don't think that Social Security is going to be there, then doesn't that mean that you should be investing extra in your 401k and IRA and all of that? And then they don't invest anything. You need to be able to afford food too. Listen, if you can't afford to get your employer's 401k match, well, listen, okay, if you're poor and you work at a job where you don't have a 401k, then that's a different thing, okay? But if you work at a job where they have a 401k, then you are making enough money that you should be able to get the employer match and still eat and live and all of these other things. And if you can't afford it now, you sure as hell aren't going to be able to afford it in 60 years, man. D says finally got filled at 27. On a bid? Or an exit? You know, I really hate trading no news Fridays, because when a real move forms on a no news Friday, it always perplexes me. It always does something bizarre that I don't understand, you know? I'm still the thread that triggered this whole bit of discussion. It's still up, and then like in that thread, this is always the way that this one goes on Reddit, in the threesome threads, is then everybody says, "Yep, I know somebody that tried it, and here's what's happened." It's always a bad idea. Yeah. I kind of feel like, so number one, I would never want to do such a thing or recommend such a thing. I kind of feel like that talking about it like that shouldn't necessarily be like a let's get divorced sort of a thing. But I at the same time, it's still totally justified. Like, you don't just out and say, "Oh, let's have a threesome," sort of a thing. No, like, you're gonna like probe them, see if they're into it, you know, so that by the time you're like, okay, let's go and do this thing, it's not a surprise to them. When you just spring it on them, the fuck is wrong with you, man? The heck is wrong with you? Like, you shouldn't be surprising your partner with things like that. Your partner should not be surprised by things like that. You're doing something wrong if your partner is surprised by things like that. That's another issue that I have with this whole thread. Oh my gosh. I should stop reading this thread. No, I'm going to keep reading it. Here people are saying, don't say anything, right? Like, get started. 6 months from now, you'll leave him and he'll be completely clueless. Yeah, that probably is the way you should. It's unfortunate, but that is the way that it goes. Yeah, there you go. Expecting there. Okay. Okay. I'm not the only one. Okay. Now I think I can finish reading this thread because I got the validation that like I'm not the only person reading this and going like, what is wrong with you? Expecting your wife to take it well that you want to have another woman in your bed 6 months after giving birth to your child is mind-boggling to me. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's not just that the guy screwed up. Like, it's a huge red flag. It really is. This is somebody that is having some sort of fantasy, obsession, etc., and like can't help but, you know, say something about it, even when it's like the worst time to be talking about it. Crowdstrike is starting to move up a little bit here. You know, it would be funny if they completely retraced the downside from the overnight. That seems like a little bit of a fantastical thing, but it's within possibility and it's kind of going for it. I would think that what they do is they try and make it, they get as far as they can and then it dives and it goes to new lows before the end of the day. That's my guess. But there's it could do anything. The possibilities with these sorts of things are endless. Yeah, 6 months is barely yesterday. Bro needs to triple. Listen. This comes back to this whole thing that's like, it seems like some millennials are just endlessly triggered by that when they were in high school, their parents told them not to sleep with their boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever, and they never got over it, right? And a lot of people, that leads into, well, why don't we do this thing? Let's have open relationships and let's do this thing and that thing and etc., etc., etc. Well, listen, the things are the way that they are for reasons, and very often good reasons. It's totally valid for us to question why things are the way that they are and what those reasons are, and to check and verify if they're actually good things or not. But it seems to me like a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people, they just say, oh, I don't like this rule, I think it should be different, and never consider like why it's like that. Okay? We have marriages where you have a committed relationship between two people. Why? Because that security is necessary to create a stable household for children. So, folks, if you get married and you have kids, that's what you're signing up for. Just so that you know, that's what you're signing up for. And the chances are, listen, you kids, I know some of you guys are like in your 20s, not married yet. So I'm not telling you this like don't get married, etc. I'm just warning you so that when it happens, you're not like shocked. You're prepared for it so that you can deal with it. Okay. That means that at some point, probably you're going to have kids and she's not going to want to have sex with you for a little while. Okay. Usually the year after that, they're not very interested in it. Okay. As women get older, the libido dies off and then it kind of comes back. But, you know, there's going to be periods where her libido is going to be lower. and you just have all you can do is deal with it, right? And if you know, all of these sorts of things like, oh, so let's pick up another person and all of these sorts of things, it ends badly most of the time. Okay. Can you put on your tinfoil? Sure. You know what we really need to do? Let's while I am waiting for Derek to tell us his tinfoil hat theory, let's go to Amazon and see if there is any new EMF shielding hats. EMF protection hood. Hey. A Faraday hat. You know, so like here's the thing. I'm a bald guy. So if I was going to start wearing a hat, what kind of a hat would be best for me? Because I'm looking here like, you know, just like a regular baseball cap. I don't know if that really would work for me. A beanie, I don't really feel like that's my style either. I can be crazy and look stylish now. Exactly. Guys, you don't just go and get tinfoil out of your drawer and make something. They have products on Amazon now to help protect you from the Russian brainwave rays that, you know, were making people go crazy. This story has gone back and forth. I still read stuff about that from time to time. Havana syndrome, right? And then there was this whole thing that was like, no, Havana syndrome was actually like all just misinformation. Like the people were just catching, there was nothing wrong with them. And then I heard other stories that was like, no, actually it was like a Russian death ray. Actually, let's search for that. I bet you that there's like a Wikipedia page. It's Havana syndrome, right? Havana syndrome is a disputed medical condition reported primarily by U.S. diplomatic, intelligence, and military officials stationed in overseas locations. Most of the affected individuals reported an acute onset of symptoms associated with a perceived local loud sound, followed by chronic symptoms that lasted for months, such as balance and cognitive problems, insomnia, and headaches. The first cases were reported by U.S. and Canadian embassy staff in Havana, Cuba, though earlier instances have occurred in Germany. Cause of the syndrome remains unknown and controversial. In 2019 and 2020, some U.S. government representatives attributed the incidents to attacks by unidentified foreign actors, and various U.S. officials blamed the reported symptoms on a variety of unidentified and unknown technologies, including ultrasound or microwave weapons. The U.S. intelligence services could not determine the cause of the symptoms. However, U.S. intelligence and government officials expressed suspicion to the press that Russian military intelligence were responsible. In 2022, several major studies were published, with none finding any evidence of the reported conditions being a result of actions by a hostile power. Some cited psychogenic factors, environmental causes, or pre-existing medical conditions as causes of the disease. In January of 2022, the Central Intelligence Agency issued an interim assessment concluding that the syndrome is not the result of a sustained global campaign by a hostile power. Foreign involvement was ruled out in 976 cases of the 1,000 reviewed. In March 2023, 7 U.S. intelligence agencies completed a review of the proposed cases of Havana syndrome and released an unclassified report with the consensus that available intelligence consistently points against the involvement of U.S. adversaries in causing the reported incidents, and that a foreign adversary's involvement was very unlikely. This stance was reiterated in a March 2024 report by National Intelligence Council. Yeah, that's not like suspicious at all. I digress. Back to looking for hats. You should wear a yarmulke. Oh my gosh, that you know what? A yarmulke maybe could work for me, actually, but I'm not Jewish, and that would be extremely disrespectful. So I'm not going to do that. Not going to do that. I mean, I could maybe do a hood. Maybe a hood is not a bad idea. Rad energy. I like that. What's with this company? This is a company. Visit the Rad Energy store. Silver fiber cap. The Rad caps are lined with silver fiber that blocks 99% of EMF wireless radiation. Wow. They've got radiation blocking flap. That must be for your phone. Yeah, for your phone. Bags. These guys, they got the whole thing. Oh, and special stones. Shunagite accessories. What is Shunagite? Shungite. A rare black stone made up of 99% carbon. Maybe if I search for EMF, it might tell me why they're saying an excellent shield against. Okay. A natural mineral from Russian region of Kalaria, shungite. Purifies water, protects from harmful EMF, boosts your energy, relieves stress, and detoxifies your body and mind. God, that sounds like such bullshit. All granny-style gardening hats, sombrero, and cowboy hats. Well, that's basically what I do now. Is I'll have like a sun hat, like one of these. Yeah, like if I'm ever wearing a hat, it's a hat like this, right? Maybe so for a futures trader, I think that if I was gonna wear a hat on stream, like wearing a cowboy hat, that would maybe be plausible, right? There's got to be some futures trader out there that's wearing a cowboy hat every day. For sure. There's some of these ball caps that aren't too bad, and I can see myself wearing. Like maybe not. I don't know. A unisex cadet army cap. That's the girls usually wear those, right? I don't think that would work on me. What is this? Zamix? I haven't seen a hat like that before. That's kind of weird. A bucket hat. There you go. Digi camo. Yeah. I love it. A beret. You know what? Let's see here. Could a beret work for me? A beret could maybe work for me but you know, I don't think that I think for my look, I could maybe make it work, but personality, I don't think so. Probably the thing that would fit me best would be a skull cap, but I would like something a little bit more professional. Well, probably the only kind of hat that really looks reasonably professional is a fedora, huh? Oh, okay. So, Derek's tinfoil hat theory. To switch off of Biden, you get the sympathy vote. It's perfect. New candidate can take credit for all of Joe Biden's accomplishments and take zero blame for his shortcomings. Which accomplishments? No, I'm just kidding. Maybe. I mean, in the end, I really do think that they're going to replace Joe. It's going to be really hard for them to win. It's going to be really, really hard for them to win. Maybe they'll pull it off, but it's going to be a rough journey for the Democrats. There we go, a face mask. Yeah, you gotta block all of the radiation. Okay, do they make EMF shielding cowboy hat? Is that a thing? Go to just search EMF blocking hat. Professional. EMF blocking condoms are what they really knew, if only they knew. This goes back into the whole thing yesterday about like I think that a shielded cable is more difficult to tap. So we were talking about this in Discord, and I think that the person that was it was hot dodge. Yeah. He's probably correct in the end, but I still like want to argue with him about it for some reason. He's right though that like you know, if you had something that could tap the line without actually having to like splice into it, they would still have to have access to the physical location. That's true. But like if you're into that spy shit, like that is what happens, right? Is somebody goes into your house when you're not looking and puts something on the wire or whatever the deal is. No. How about if I do it this way? Cowboy hat EMF. Wait, if I just search for cowboy hat, does that give me? Okay. So apparently cowboys are not too concerned about EMF radiation. That's what I get from that. How about EMF fedora? Ah, how about that? No, I'm just getting Linux packages. Hat. Nope. What's special about the house? They block EMF radiation. Because we were talking about tinfoil hats. And I was like, you don't use tinfoil anymore, man. They have professional products for this. And I always come back to, I need a tinfoil hat. that I can never decide, like, oh, what would actually be like the best tinfoil hat for me, though? Maybe it would be a hood. Maybe I could do the hood. And then I could look like an elite hacksaw sort of a thing, you know what I mean? But when you search for EMF hat, it just gives you regular hats and not fedoras. Oh, wait. Golden Cocoon EMF Protection Fedora Wool Hat. Okay. Not the best looking fedora though, to be honest with you. $100. Okay. It's 100% wool. So maybe that's reasonable. Bamboo silver stretch lining. Show me the inside of it. Oh, you can get a yellow hat. So you can look like the yellow hat guy from Curious George. Yeah. I'm not like, the problem is, see, here's the issue, is that guys that wore fedoras, you ruined it. That's what happened. This is all you effing neckbeards. Actually, I shouldn't. I'm a little bit of a neckbeard right now. But all you neckbeards ruined fedoras. Wearing them all, turned them into a nerd thing and everything. And those of us that actually have a need for a hat to protect ourselves from the sun and whatnot, and still want to look like professional, we got nothing. It's not fair. We need to go back to the, maybe we just need to go back to the dressing norms of 100 years ago. I need to wear a suit every day and that sort of thing. I probably would get more viewers if I wore a suit every day, wouldn't I? Where to learn order flow? I have an order flow video series on this channel. You just go to my channel page and watch those 5 or 6 videos. That's the best order flow education that's out there, in my opinion. There's lots of really good order flow stuff out there, but none of them go through the empirically proven behaviors of markets and the research, and mention some books for you to read and everything. Studies. Nobody else has that. That's our order flow video series here on YouTube, and it's free. Free. So go watch that, and then when you see it's a super great video, you'll love it, and you give that video a like and leave a comment. You need to buy an EMF hat first to learn. Oh yeah. If you're really gonna get serious about order flow, you need an EMF shielding hat. I'm just looking to see. So I have this tab open that's like professional hats, and I just keep seeing this guy. That's a nice hat. I think he looks good. Kind of want, maybe I should just get that hat. American Hat Makers. I'm telling you, it's always about the most generic name you can find, right? EMF rice patty for cyberpunk Neo Tokyo dystopia. Wait, what? Neo Tokyo or no? Okay, let's try this. EMF blocking hat cyberpunk. Yeah, rice patty hat. I totally feel what you're getting at. See, I feel like the cyberpunk take on it is gonna be a hat. So what they call those something though, right? Rice patty hat. What are those called? Asian canonical hat. Conical hat. Okay. EMF blocking conical hat. There's a Kyber. Oh, this is an item. Item from that wiki. 3D printed hat. I kind of feel like that on that one you could build your own, right? Because you can buy like EMF shielded material. You can buy EMF shielded material and then, you know. Oh, Clown FX already has one. Well, there you go. Okay, but going back, where was this good-looking guy? Would you like? I really hate every flipping website you go to. They're like, "Would you like a discount? Give us your email so we can spam you forever." I'm only gonna do that if I already think I'm gonna buy from you. Okay. These guys have some good hats. That right there, a Florence men's wide brim straw sun hat. That's a nice looking. That's a nice looking hat. Breathable wide brim sun hats. Is it really block you from the sun though? Yeah. These guys, this hat place, AmericanHatmakers.com. Every one of these hats looks super nice to me. That's a nice hat. Oh, there you go. You can get one of those. Can you imagine me wearing a hat like that? Maybe I could make it work. Maybe I could make that work. I wouldn't necessarily want to go like black. They have like 2 models. Belt pork pie hat. Oh, I've never seen that. I've never heard of that before. There we go. A leather top hat. I can't imagine everybody. I can't imagine anybody wearing that in public. So really what I need is an EMF blocking hoodie. Because I have a sun blocking hoodie. I kind of liked. I was kind of into that. I don't know if it made me look good. Probably look like a complete dork when I'm wearing it. But I liked it. We can get an EMF radiation blocking hoodie. Wait, what? Vanilla wafer top hat time. What? Nope, I'm not gonna watch the video. That's too crazy. That's too crazy. No, thank you. Ah, there we go. A Cavalier Feather men's Renaissance Fair leather hat. There you go. You see what I mean? It's you freaking net Renaissance Fair, right? That would be, you know, that could maybe be cool and stylish. But you neckbeards ruined it. You know what else neckbeards ruined? Cod pieces. Cod pieces could be a cool thing, but like nobody's gonna wear that seriously in today's society. They always say like, what would men wear if they could just wear what they wanted and there was like no societal norms around clothing and stuff like that, right? I think that, you know, you'd have to watch it develop over time, but I'm pretty sure that eventually cod pieces would come back, which is, you know, a cover, you know, something that goes over your groin area. I think so. I think that's the way they would go. Detroit. Broadway. Oh, that's interesting that they have the name after where they kind of come from. A trico leather hat. Clint Eastwood hat? What is that? What kind of a hat? You mean like a cowboy hat? Unforgiven. Just like a really beaten up cowboy. Now I'm gonna be on the hat kick all week. Oh, let's look at different hats, go through. I'll do that with a thing and like try and find every brand possible for a thing and Oh, look, they have a trucker hat. Who would wear a top hat like that? That's like a really edgy neckbeard. Wear that one. Oy. Oh yeah, what was a Walter White hat? He was wearing a fedora, wasn't he? Yeah. A Heisenberg hat. Oh, that's all the hats. Categories. Hats for big heads. Oh, well, that's another issue is that probably I need small head hat. Sun hat. See, out here in Utah, it's sunny. You need a hat like that. Golf hats? That's not a golf hat. Well, okay, whatever. Boating, sailing hat. What kind of a hat do you wear when you are in a sailing? When you are a sailor? Like the people, let's see here. What is it called? What is this called? Like World Sailing Championships? What is that called? The Sailing World Championship? Okay, let's just look for images here. Well, he is wearing a ball cap. What's this guy wearing? Open image in new tab. Oh, they are wearing like what I would think of as a golf hat. Okay. I don't know what I expected. It needs to be something like super preppy looking, I think, right? Not like preppy like what Gen Z thinks is preppy, like the original word of preppy. Good God, no. I search for preppy hat and I just get like a bunch of pink crap. No. You need like what is the name of like Ralph Lauren? You see what happened is I gave up looking at EMF hats and just was looking at hats. Oh yeah, that's what I'm looking for. It's a baseball cap, but it's super preppy looking, and it's got a polo thing on it. Hey, Team USA cotton baseball cap. I'm down. I like that. Some of these where was it? Oh, Will's scarf, $495. Vintage Team USA cap. I like it. I really like it. Man, that is so preppy looking. Let's see what you say. Hats. That's just everything, right? Baseball caps. Bucket caps. Oh, there you go. Ooh, I like that. I think I would look ridiculous in it, but I like it. Floral cotton terry bucket hat. That's not a kind of a hat that I'd expect to get. Polo Ralph Lauren. There we go. A Wimbledon hat. Yes. There. I'll open that one in a new. Could I pull this off? I mean, it's kind of a bit of a bucket hat, so I don't know if, you know, me sitting there wearing that every day would really work out, but I could maybe pull that off stylistically, like casual, you know, casual, like you know, a hat like that and like a linen shirt, right?
Block buy.
Well, the treasuries are seeing a little bit more extreme of a buying here now, huh? There's just like the volume just like really whoosh. I wonder. Plaid. Oh man. Do they have, let's see, men, clothing, casual shirts. So one of the things that really drives me nuts about the shopping thing for things online is like, if I come in here to filter, okay, like what can I filter by? Ah, shop by fabric. Linen, yes sir. There we go. Lightweight linen shirt. Hello. That's what we're getting. Oh yes, yes. What if I do this look? You think I can do this look? Maybe I should. Maybe I really should just do the toupee thing, whatever you call it. Give myself a hairstyle like that, and just to try and look like the most prep school looking person ever, with the scarf and everything. Something like that. Oh, what's that's got sailing, what do you call it? Mast, helm, kind of pattern on it. Oh man, they got like a wide variety. So like $100, that sounds about right to me, right? But then you keep going, all of a sudden, oh hey, $495 for a linen shirt? For that linen shirt? What's so special about that one? Please do tell. The purple label. What is purple? Ralph Lauren purple label. I don't know. Is that just how you know that's the expensive? It's the ultimate expression of luxury. Oh man, that is purple. That is purple. I cannot see. Where did it go? I'm looking at this. Doesn't look as purple to me as now. Can't see purple very well, okay? Well, I should probably pay attention to the 10-year treasury here a little bit more. There was that kind of like explosion higher since that time. It's kind of started to create that liquidity hole sort of a thing. Well, Crowdstrike, by the way, has just kind of been going sideways. I would have expected a lot more volatility out of them, but apparently not. Who has calls on Crowd? You have calls on them? Well, I don't. I'm interested in buying this stock, but not today. Nah, you don't want to do it today. But, you know, calls is like a play on recovery today. Maybe, because we may yet end up higher. Who knows? Who knows? Well, I'm kind of starting to think, yeah, we're going to have some crazy market volatility because of this CrowdStrike thing and everything. But now what I'm seeing is, yeah, the markets did their thing and are trying to digest it. And now you're not actually getting a lot of activity. And I'm kind of wondering if it's not like, well, a lot of people are down, a lot of people can't do anything. And maybe it's not, like their trading systems are all fine, but, they're dealing with these other things. Like, there might not be that much actually happen today. Might not be a whole lot happen today. And, this stream went by really quickly. We got like 20 minutes left. What? That went very quickly. Oh, wow. They grounded all planes. Wow. My wife worked yesterday. And I'm super glad that she worked yesterday and not today. The battery stocks must be tanking today. Why would that be? Oh, well, I don't. You're gonna have to give me a ticker because that's not a sector that I'm really familiar with. Oh yeah. Oh, because Trump was basically saying. So I don't know if that would have that big of an effect. So we will look at like Tesla. Tesla would be a good proxy here. Okay, so Tesla did take a dive from around the time, I think, when Donald Trump was talking. So he said he's going to rescind the ban on electric vehicles. So the deal with that is that Joe Biden is promoting this rule that like all cars have to be electric by 2026 or something like that, right? And that's what he's really talking about rescinding. So I don't know if like Tesla, for instance, would necessarily be severely harmed by Donald Trump. They might get less subsidies and so forth, but I don't know if it would really hurt the electric vehicle industry that much. But Tesla is down, and since the open, they've continued going down. So perhaps I am wrong on that one. Can you reply to Discord? Oh, what do we got? What you got here? Maybe. Hold on. I'll just give you the link. Can you use the link, or does it want you to log in? So the issue you're gonna have is it's probably too big for somebody to just send it to you. And you're not going to be able to do anything with it unless you have a license anyways, so. They're like, I had to decline, and then they came right back up there to that 29 area. Kind of odd. Maybe a little bit of wrangling around in the Japanese yen at that time as well. Probably do need to be aware Japanese intervention may still be a thing. Well, my conclusion after about an hour of research is that hats aren't for me. That's my conclusion. I'm not seeing volume continue to flood into the 10-year to push it up, but I think that there's a possibility of it coming. It might not happen until after we're gone, though. That wasn't me when balls deep into crowd calls yesterday. Oh, that's painful. How much did he lose? Oh man. Oh man. He spent a lot of money on it, man. At least the due diligence was right. They have a lot of market share, especially critical infrastructure like airports, government, and a hospital contract. In terms of U.S. history, this has been one hell of a week. Well, I mean, it's been all year, right? But I do wonder how... So, is this going to be something that is just happening today and then everybody forgets about it by Monday? Or is this going to turn into like a you know, even if there's not outages, it turns into a longer term story simply because people are trying to figure out what happened. I can imagine going hard into a company valued that high, making so little relative. Yeah. And that's why I didn't get into it. It's like, yeah, I can see the growth in there, but I just don't like the current valuation. Was waiting for all of these to kind of come back, and maybe they never do. But here's somebody saying, nope, I'm not having any problems because I use Linux for my infrastructure. Well, I think a lot of people are kind of finding out like they think that they're on Linux infrastructure, but they're actually have more Windows dependencies than they think. You're seeing call buying in the treasury, in TLT. I'm still kind of seeing this some price movement volatility. I'm not seeing the volume really come in, but but maybe it's gonna be more in the 5-year. I don't know. Looking to buy tickets to the Crowdstrike post-mortem. Yeah, that will be interesting. Documentary I found. Oh, I don't think I've seen this one. Maybe I have. I don't know. It's just like in a little news report. I know, that kind of gets me back to this thing that I think a lot of what happens in trading is that we've all kind of been conditioned with ideas about what the market is like and how the market behaves based on stuff that was on television and so forth in the 80s and 90s. And the problem is that it, like the post 2008 world is very different, especially as it pertains to market making and liquidity and the robots having taken over. And so everybody has this idea that they're going to come in and be a day trader, and it's like it's not quite like that anymore. Like, what there are people that can make money, like make a living from the markets, but not necessarily in the ways that they were in the past. Have you spent any time trying to find open interest intraday? I'm pretty sure it doesn't exist. I would be really shocked if that was like out there and we didn't know about it. There are markets, there are some of the metal markets in China that have intraday open interest, and that's like a unique thing for that one exchange, and you're not going to find it anywhere else. Oh, you found it in the Indian? Yeah, sure. Like, you'll find it in some emerging markets, let's say. But I think that there's too many like, again, that would be like valuable information that would have pretty significantly negative impacts on certain major players' strategies, right? Like, if somebody's coming in and they're hedging and they're adding a position on, they don't want everybody to know that they're adding a position on. They want to be able to, execute and everybody kind of not notice what's going on. And if everybody can see that the open interest is steadily going up while it's happening, then they're going to know and they're going to start shoving it. So these guys aren't going to want you to have that information. And I honestly believe that was perhaps a factor behind the whole move to electronic trading to begin with. See, you have to think about it as like, who is the primary customer, right? This market, it doesn't exist for you. Like the futures market, you can trade oil futures. It doesn't exist for you. It exists for people that produce oil and have to hedge the oil prices in order to keep their profits consistent and protect themselves against risk. And so those are the primary customers. Everything is kind of optimized towards helping them. And so you're only there able to participate because it provides liquidity for them to execute against. And that's why you often see the markets set up with the way that it is. And they're not going to want you to see open interest, for instance. They don't want you to know who you're trading against, for instance. When they moved from when it was in the pit, you kind of knew who you were dealing with to some extent. You knew, oh, this guy is part of a bank that buys or whatever. And he's coming over to the pit with a paper. That means that he's got a big order and something's going to happen. And then everybody would start bidding it up or down based on what they thought, what they knew about that would tell them what way that order was going to be, essentially, right? Then they went over to electronic, and now everything is anonymous. You don't have any clue who you're trading against whatsoever. You don't know if those big guys are actually out there. You can kind of try and sniff it out from the data, but you can't see them. Right? And it would be really, really nice to go back to that world, or to create some analogs within our now fully electronic trading that provides some of the same things, like the ability to have a trader ID attached to it, or creating like a virtual reality pit, something like that, right? But I don't think that you're ever going to see very serious attempts at doing those things, because the major participants really benefit from the way that things are. In the things that kind of hurt you as a retail trader benefit them usually. Do you have any plans for the weekend? No. So, I'm really close on being able to paint my cabinet. So I think that I will do like get some sanding sealer and do the sanding sealer and all of that. I think I'm going to just hand paint or use a roller for the primer. And then we'll have to find a way to spray the final coats on it. So we don't have like an airless painter. So, but I think that the paint that I want to use, that you can dilute it enough, and depending on the gun that we've got and everything, it should work out. So. No, it's just going to be a white cabinet, just like your white kitchen cabinets. Satin, white finish, and then I'm going to have a walnut top. I would really like to get that done and out, and I spent like way more time than I needed to on it, but I learned a lot of things. I probably can make cabinets again a lot better. Because there was some talk about like making an entertainment center sort of a thing. Because the one that we got doesn't handle, well, it's not big enough for starters, for like all of the electronic devices that we have, and it just doesn't handle the kids. The torment from the kids' real. But I think we get a new television first before we do that. I'm like, let's buy a $5,000 85-inch television. And she's like, that seems unnecessary. But like, I kind of feel like it is necessary. Like, how you expect me to watch hockey on something less than 85 inches? Come on. So that's what we need is that. When they actually have like real merchandise for the hockey team here in Utah, I need to get some of that. If you had took along on ZB during CPI, you'd be putting new cabinets in? Yeah. Well, if I was going to replace something, what would I... So if I had made some sort of a windfall and I was going to spend a ton of money on something. Well, first of all, if I made another windfall, or I shouldn't say another windfall. I had inherited a bit of money earlier in the year, and I basically invested all of it into long-term accounts. If I got another one like that, I would probably start putting it into 529s. Like I can put that 7,000 or whatever into every one of the kids' 529s, of one for each kid, and I've got 5 kids, so that's a lot of money you could save, right? and the whole thing is, like, if you don't use it all, it can be given to other kids or moved into your Roth IRA accounts. So that's a way to save a lot of money tax-free. That's probably what I would do. But if you forced me to spend it on like something in my house, so I got a few projects coming up. One of them is that I want to have a door that goes from my garage into the backyard, which will require some stairs being built. I want to rebuild the little the little stairs that we have in the garage going up to, the door to the inside. So that we can like put shoes and stuff over there. And then there needs to be a rock path on the side of the house that we haven't really done anything with. It's just dirt over there. It's kind of like a shaded wooded area, so it looks natural, but we want to make it all nice. And then if all of those things, I would really like a hot tub or something like that. But I don't know. My wife is like hyper nervous. So she's like, we can't have a pool. One of the kids is gonna fall into the pool and drown. And I'm like, that's silly. Or do we just build the things around it so that they can't get into the pool unless we're there? But then they got like a blow up pool and filled it up with water. And they put it like there on our little concrete back porch. And it was there for long enough that it grew algae. It was there for long enough that it basically grew algae. And I'm like, well, the kids could go out there and fall into that and drown. Except for that's also like dirty. So like, why not just have a pool? Well, okay, whatever. So, could you do a hot tub with the top and everything? Maybe. But I think that I would really like hot tub. I really like getting into the shower and just letting the hot water go on my back. Like, I need that every day to get the muscles in my back to relax. And because basically I've got some misshapen discs and so forth. So basically those spots where the rib goes into the spine, there's always kind of like what do they call them, dislocations or something, subluxations or something like that, right? Basically the way that the bone is sitting in that joint at the time kind of irritates it and doesn't like it, and so you kind of have to get it to move. So a hot tub, a really nice hot tub, would be a big plus. That's kind of like, and I think that's kind of like the next, that and redoing like the TV and the entertainment center and stuff. Those are like the next big corrections. And a car. Gonna need a new car soon, I think. But like that car is gonna be like a Honda Civic or something. My friend called me the other day and he's panicking. He put practically his entire inheritance on a penny stock with 12 employees. Is this going in the direction 18 over? Oh man. It's really wild to me, the risks that people end up taking, Quiet dog. Well, that's good. My wife was up pretty late with Asher. Ethan went to bed. So like at 9 o'clock, I'm like they just came home. I was so sick of the kids. I'm like, we're going to bed. It's 9 o'clock. Grabbed him. He didn't want to go upstairs, so I picked him up and dragged him up there. So there was wailing and gnashing of teeth Oh, I'm like way over. Anyways, Asher would not go to sleep, and so she was up really, really late. But they're still getting up at a decent time, so maybe it's not all so bad. Guys, I should be going. I will catch you later. In the meantime, stay excellent.